Hi everyone, I am Nicola from Elimee Designs and welcome to episode 8 of our video blog. So the last month has had lots of ups and downs, as I suppose life always does. And there's been various family illnesses with coughs, colds, vomiting, bugs unfortunately. The little one has been getting bigger, she's now 6 weeks old. And I've been trying my best to enjoy as many baby cuddles as possible, whilst also getting a little bit of crocheting done. Easier said than done, given that she spends most of her time sat on my chest. The only reason that she's not there at the moment is that my husband is kindly giving her some cuddles so that I can talk to all of you. So let's crack on. Let's start with the pattern that has just been released, the Sew Extra blanket. So this is a pattern that I designed to come out last Easter. Unfortunately, owing to various circumstances, I did not manage to crochet the sample in time, let alone get it out to testers and do everything else that you need to do as part of releasing a pattern. So in order to avoid catastrophe again this year, I made a point of crocheting it way in advance of time. So I finished this just before Christmas, so this was the last big project I managed before the baby came, and put it into testing literally a few days before I gave birth. And managed to release it to you guys, gosh, what day are we on? Monday. So release it to you guys last week on Friday. So I'm just going to give you guys a closer look in case you haven't already seen it. So there's 3 main components to this blanket. So the first, let me hold it the right way up actually, so it's not upside down, is this section which I have at either end of little eggs. I do have it so that the eggs are pointing in one direction at one end and the other direction at the other end, so they're all both kind of facing in towards the middle. I have included 9 eggs, I believe, in mine, and I've done it so that the blue one is the middle one, and then I've repeated the colours going outwards. Obviously, if you wanted to make a bigger blanket, you just add more eggs, a smaller blanket, less eggs. I've then done this transition row, which I've chosen to do in a contrast colour, but I know some of our testers did it in the same as the background colour and it looks absolutely great, just to break things up a little bit before moving into the filet section. So I decided to go with diamonds. Now my initial plan, I knew I wanted that sort of crossing over type pattern, and I had thought about doing the diamond waffle stitch. There were a few others that I toyed around with, but for one reason or another, I did a few samples. I didn't think that they worked great with the colour work parts of this pattern. So I went with filet instead, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. Now, the middle section is my favourite because you can play around with it and make it as unique as you want, is a section of bigger Easter eggs. So I've got one, obviously it's got broken up stripes, one that's got a bit of a zigzag going on. We know how I love zigzags. One that is just stripes, one that's got a little bit of everything going on, and one that's got a little heart on it. Now, there is a part of the pattern included that's basically giving you a plain Easter egg so that you can colour it in however you want it, make your own design, and then incorporate that into your blanket. If for whatever reason you're not a fan of colour work, or if you're not experienced with it and you don't feel ready to go from, here we are, the plain little ones all the way up to the patterned big ones, you can either do them in a solid colour or you could use variegated yarn. That way they'll end up different to each other, but there's a lot less ends to weave in, there's a lot less faffing around with bobbins. But personally, being a fan of colour work, I had a lot of fun making these. I tend to have the technique of, when I'm doing single crochet colour work, so it's different for corner to corner colour work, the bobbins just move over my lap, so they move from left to right for the row, I reset, and then they go from left to right again, and that stops me getting tangled. And as I said, the other end of the blanket is a repeat of the first end, so I can't get it all in one all in one shot at the moment just because of the size of it. It is designed for my littlest one, so it is a baby blanket as far as I'm concerned, although it's a decent sized baby blanket because A, she already has lots of small ones, and B, I want it to last her a while. I want her to be able to snuggle up under it. My girls tend to either snuggle up in front of the TV when we're having family movie time, or where their festive higgy blankets are at the moment, they take them up into their beds and snuggle up under them at night. So hopefully she'll get at least a few years wear out of this one before I say have to make her a bigger one, but let's face it, she's going to end up with a lot of blankets. Blankets are my favourite thing to make. So that blanket, I will tell you about the yarn in a moment, generated a lot more leftovers than I was expecting. I didn't estimate my yarn requirements very well. And so I decided to make another pattern with the scraps. I've wanted to do a officially scrappy pattern for quite a while. I mean, lots of them you could make with scraps. So for example, behind me I've got my corner to corner Aphrodite blanket, and one of our testers, although it wasn't technically scraps, did do one colour, then another colour, then another colour for the background, which looked absolutely amazing, but shows you that it doesn't have to be a solid colour. I wanted to do something a little bit smaller, given that this pattern was designed after I'd given birth, whilst very, very sleep deprived, I guess, as all new parents are. So a lot of the patterns coming out over the next couple of months are going to be smaller projects that require just a little bit less brain power, at least on my part. I don't know about anyone else, but doing all of the colour work is just a little bit more involved for me. So I made a set of nesting baskets. So I've done 3 different sizes. So this is the smallest one, which I tend to put my stitch markers in, particularly my nice pretty ones that I've been getting over recent months, courtesy of birthdays and Christmas. A medium-sized one, which I tend to put a lot of yarn bobbins in, so they fit quite well in there. And then the bigger one, which I can fit 3 balls of yarn in. So I think that works quite well for that. If you're doing a project with not too many colour changes, you could put all 3 in and then just pull the middles out and colour work from there. You wouldn't get too tangled with just 3 balls, but it's entirely up to you what you'd want to use them for. So they all have the same kind of basis. They've got a circular bottom. I have gone for spiral type working rather than slip stitching at the end of every row, just so that you don't get that very visible seam. Obviously you then work up the side and then you flip over the brim just to make a bit of a feature, but also it helps to give it that little bit of stability, because depending on what scraps you're using, your yarn might be a little bit floppier. In order to counterbalance the floppiness of some yarns, I've used that to influence the size of hook that I recommend. Equally, I make mine, I don't know if you can see, with 2 strands of yarn at a time. And although I'm not an expert when it comes to amigurumi, as you have seen in the past, I have gone for the yarn under technique, just because again it makes it a little bit tighter, a little bit denser, and therefore makes your basket stand up a little bit better. So you'll be seeing some examples of those from my testers fairly soon. It is still in testing. This pattern is going to be free on my blog, and is going to be released as part of an event that I'm participating in. So you won't have to wait too long for that. It will come out before the next episode. Now, probably easier to show you on the big blanket. So for this blanket I used the Paintbox Simply DK range of yarn. Now I'm going to get the colours completely wrong, but we will try. This one is Pale Lilac, I can do that one. The yellow is Banana Cream. The green is Washed Teal. The blue, oh yeah, there's blue there in the transition row, is Sky Blue. And now the bit that I can't remember is of the pink and the peach. One is Rosy Pink and one is Candy Floss Pink. I want to say that the paler one that's more pink is Candy Floss and that this is more the pale pink, but I could get that completely the wrong way around. I apologise if I have. So one more finished object for this month. Yeah, based on my last video I was hoping to have 2 more, but well, failed. So the next one are my husband's socks. So as you will know, me and socks have a bit of a checkered history in terms of crocheting them on time for when I've promised them. This pair were promised for Christmas, and I had 1 sock and a good chunk of the second sock, but did not manage to finish them before Christmas. And as you know from the last episode, between Christmas and the baby coming, I did almost no crocheting just because of spending time with the family, people coming over. It just didn't really happen. So at the end of the last episode, I had literally the toe section of 1 sock left to do. I am glad to say I finished it. I have woven in my ends. He has tried them on. They fit. I'm just waiting for a modelled photograph to share with you all on Instagram. But this colour my kids chose out, and I just love, if you can see that it's a little bit sparkly. Now this is the Silent Night shade from the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply range. The last pair of socks that I showed you, the Rum Paradise, is the same yarn range, just a different colour, and I have loved working with their yarn. So I do hope to make lots and lots and lots more socks this year. As you may recall, I got quite a bit of sock yarn for my birthday from my mother on her trip to Germany. So I'm hoping to try out a new pattern with the next pair. Definitely won't be my own pattern because I'm not feeling like designing socks at the moment. I'm definitely not at that stage. But I do love crocheting them and I love wearing them. So fingers crossed that I can find another pattern that I like. So moving swiftly on to the works in progress. Now, I'm not going to show you all of my works in progress, A, because I don't want to spoil all of the upcoming patterns that we have going on, and B, because not all of my whips have I made any progress on since previous episodes. So you're going to see one thing that I've been working on that you've seen before and one thing that's new. So the one that I've been working on that you've already seen, but I've made some progress, just not as much as I had hoped, is the one that I had hoped to finish, and that's the baby cardigan. Yes, as you can see, it's in construction at the moment. So I've done my first seam, putting the raglan sleeves in, and then I've just got to do all of the other bits of seaming. Now, last time I showed you, I just had the last section with all of the reducing of one sleeve. So I did manage to do that, as well as doing this one seam. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, although you wouldn't be able to tell if I didn't tell you, so I would look a little bit better with my knitting. I had to take this cardigan apart and reseam it. The reason being that I haven't done a raglan sleeve garment before, either in sewing, knitting, crochet at all. And so I got the construction wrong. I managed to seam my back piece to my front piece, forgetting that there's a sleeve that goes in the middle. And I had done both sides. And it wasn't until I was trying to film this episode last week, it got scrapped because my little baby was just being really fussy and constantly didn't stop, and I didn't want to have lots of chopping and changing throughout the video for you, and there was no one else to look after her, so I scrapped what I had filmed and decided to start again today. But that means that you didn't see the massive blunder where during filming I held it up and was like, oh, I don't think that's put together right. So I managed to undo it and put it together with a little stitch markers as to where to redo it. But it means that had I not told you, you wouldn't have known about my silly mistake. So yeah. Just in case you don't recall, this is made with the Ciadar Baby Shimmer DK. And yes, with the boring shade names, this is shade BS9. We know how I feel about that. So the next whip that I want to show you, and I cannot remember the shade of the yarn, although I know who it's by, but I can pop it up on the screen so you'll get to see. So this is a pattern that came to me whilst I was feeding in the middle of the night, very tired. But in the middle of the night, you know, you can't crochet, you can't really do much while you're feeding, so I was thinking about things that I wanted to make. So this is a pattern that won't come out until the autumn, and that's because of the theme that I've gone with for it. But I couldn't resist starting to crochet it now, and I figured if I make it now, then I will circumvent the issue that I had with the Sew Extra blanket, in that it was supposed to come out last year and I didn't make it in nearly enough time. So I'm making this one nice and early. So this one, I don't know if you can tell by the shade of orange that I'm using, is an autumn themed blanket. Again, this is a filet design this time. So there's no colour work on this blanket, and if I hold it up, can you tell what it is yet? Probably, maybe, possibly. It's hard to see all of the holes when there's a multicoloured background. Sorry, I'm kind of stretching it out so it's not laying very straight. If I hold it that way, it's upside down, but you might be able to see the holes a little bit better to guess what it is. If you think autumn, then I think it's pretty obvious what it's going to be. I won't tell you exactly what the design is going to look like. It's not just going to have this particular object on it. There will be something else. and I'm not sure if I'm going to show you the progress as we go or not with this one. We'll have to see how I feel with the next episode and whether I've made any progress with it. But I thought you'd like to get a bit of a sneak peek, and this is being made with the Starcraft Specialty K, and I cannot remember which shade of orange this is. So it's not copper, it's not spice, because I've used both of those in other projects. I want to say there's one called either clementine or tangerine or something orangey, and it's that one. But having not got the label to hand, I will pop it up on the screen just so that you can know what it is if you would like to grab some of the same yarn. So the next thing I want to mention before we go on to the bits and bobs that I have acquired since the last episode, some of which are absolutely amazing, is I just wanted to remind you about the giveaway that we have going on at the moment. So within our Facebook group, as a celebration for reaching 250 members of the group, we decided to do a giveaway, and we are giving away 3 free patterns. The exact details of what you need to do to win those 3 patterns is in the Facebook group, so I'll drop a link below along with all of the show notes so that you can have a look. The deadline to enter is the 28th of February, so you've still got a few weeks left to do what you need to do to enter. But yeah, best of luck. I hope that we can, because this is kind of more of a mid-month thing, I don't think I'll wait until the next episode to announce the winner, so you'll probably know before the next episode. But yeah. Oh, I forgot to say about the cardigan, although you'll have seen it from previous episodes, this is the pattern I'm following by Mercia. So it's this plain version that I am attempting to make with my 3rd ever knitting project. I already have ideas of what I want to do next. So next is things that I have received since the last episode. The first one that I wanted to give a big shout out to was one of my Secret Santas. So I take part in Secret Santa every year as part of the craft group that I'm in on Facebook. This year they ran 2. So there was the one for the main Facebook page, and there's also a small number of us who meet on Zoom or Teams or whatever once a week, and we decided to have our own little Secret Santa as well. So even though they're called Secret Santa, we do not have to exchange before Christmas. The deadline for the smaller group was Burns Night, so that one has been drawn already. That's the one I'm going to show you. And the date for the second one, so the deadline, is the end of March. Now, because of COVID and life and things that happen, it's not unheard of for people to receive gifts even later than that. I know recently somebody got their Secret Santa gift for the year before, and we are very forgiving as a group. We know what goes on, what life is like, but I wanted to show you what I got from this Secret Santa. So firstly, as everybody knows, I feel the cold, and I don't know how well my Secret Santa knew that about me, although the fact that I turn up on Zoom, you know, in my pajamas and dressing gown under a blanket quite a lot might have given things away. She, because our whole group is, that little subgroup happens to be women, made me a lovely pair of slippers. Now, I cannot tell you the pattern, I cannot tell you exactly what they're made from, but I can tell you they are incredibly warm and they fit very well. So, Secret Santa, who made my slippers, thank you very much. And the other gift that I got from my Secret Santa was some embroidery. Now, I have only made like 1 embroidery project ever. I've done plenty of cross stitch historically, but not embroidery, and I am nowhere near up to this skill level. Like, as I'm sure you saw, I think it was an episode, oh no, I didn't show you in episode 1 because I hadn't gifted it yet. I literally just put someone's name and a very simple design on a zipper pouch to give to them. This is far more complex than that, and I can only hope to be this good one day. Look at this little wintry scene. So this is totally being hung on my Christmas tree next year. Whether people put them on the wall or hang them up, or yeah, I'm going to put mine on my Christmas tree. I'm just going to put a little bit of ribbon. But as you can see, it is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at that little sled. I think it's amazing. I am very grateful to whoever my Secret Santa was. I have a suspicion, but I don't know for certain, and I haven't asked them to confirm or deny because I think that ruins the magic of Secret Santa. So I will show you when I get my next Secret Santa, which might be in the next episode, it might be the one after. I myself have not finished my Secret Santa gift for that drawer yet. I've got one part of the gift finished, the other part is stalled because I need to pick up some more yarn because I ran out of those particular colours. So I won't be showing you what I've done for either of the Secret Santas just because it ruins the mystique, but that's all part of the fun of being a Secret Santa. And the next thing I wanted to show you was a late Christmas present. So because of Christmas being bananas and giving birth and everything else, and my friend has her own little family to look after, we only managed to meet up recently to exchange our Christmas gifts. She very, very kindly bought me some more stitch markers. As I'm sure you know from recent episodes, I've recently acquired quite a few stitch markers because that was what I asked for this Christmas/birthday. And she obviously knows me very well. I mean, she's known me since I was 10, so her getting something that was completely on the money and exacting to my taste without me saying anything was a given. But look at these. Hopefully you can see them in plastic packets, okay, because I haven't taken them out. Gorgeous little fox stitch markers that she got me. I mean, how adorable are they? So these are from Joy to the Wool. You can see at the bottom there. Oh, if I can get it in focus. I'll put it in the show notes. You can see how to find them on Instagram and what their website is. But yeah, over the moon with these. Very, very well done to my best friend Jo. And lastly, I managed to win a giveaway, which was amazing. Doesn't happen all the time. Obviously, lots of people enter giveaways, but I was very, very happy to win this one, especially once I saw what I'd won. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if she drew it on the episode, because if she did, I missed it. But I didn't know that I had won this until I got an email, and then it was in the next episode where my name came up saying that I had won a giveaway. So I did find out a little bit ahead of her video blog coming out. She is a fellow video blogger. She knits, she crochets, she sews, she is very, very talented, and she has her own shop where she sells hand-dyed yarn. Yes, she hand dyes her own yarn as well. She also does a little bit of her own spinning. She also sells other products that she hasn't made herself. She just, yeah, has a lot of awesomeness, and you always get to see her cute little boy Jensen in the episodes right at the end. So yeah, so this is her business card. So I won a prize from Craft House Magic, and part of my prize, I got a little pin or button, I don't know what you call them depending on where in the world you are, with her logo on. But more importantly, I won some gorgeous yarn. Now, after I opened this, I was like, oh, I should have totally done an unboxing video, because according to my husband, my face was a treat, because I was literally like, oh my god, this is amazing. So I won more than I thought I was going to win, which is always a bonus. And I have to say, big shout out to her. All of the packaging, even the tape, is completely recyclable, which I thought was very, very, not just environmentally conscious, but amazing. Like, it was pretty and functional and recyclable. So she gets lots of bonus points from me. So the first thing I won was some of her Christmas yarn. So this is her Jolly Jingles colorway. And this is, let's have a look. So it's 4-ply yarn. It's 80% superwash and 20% nylon. And it's got lots of speckles in it. Now, she absolutely loves speckles. I do too. I'm not sure what I'm going to make out of this one yet, so if you have any suggestions, do let me know. But I do have an idea for the next one. And this is the one that I opened first, and the one where apparently I pulled a very happy face. And this, I mean, look at this. Look at these minis. There are 5 20-gram minis here. And these are very much the kind of colours that I would totally pick for myself, that I would wear myself. So this is going to be a project for me, definitely for me. So this one is from her mixtape minis. So she's been making minis, a mini set every month to do with the mixtape series through last year. This was the December colorway, and they're named Get the Party Started, Go All the Way, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Enjoy the Silence, and I Want It That Way. Now, I know, as a cringe Backstreet Boy fan, that I Want It That Way is a Backstreet Boy song. And I do recognise a few of the other song titles too, but, you know, why not embarrass myself by revealing that I'm a fan of the Backstreet Boys? So this, again, is 4-ply, and it's 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. So I don't know if you can see very clearly the sparkles in the yarn, but it's absolutely beautiful. Now, I had a chat with my online craft group that I got the Secret Santa from as to what on earth I should make with it, because it's beautiful and it's going to be for me, but I had no idea what to make with it. I mean, my first instinct was, oh, maybe a shawl, but I don't think that I have that many kind of occasions that I tend to wear a shawl to. I tend to go for more kind of the thick woolly scarves to keep my neck warm and things like that. A shawl, you know, with little kids, I'd be worried about the baby vomiting on it, about them falling off my shoulders. So they gave me a good idea, although I haven't picked a pattern yet. I am going to make an infinity scarf with these. Not sure what order yet, I'll have to play around with it, but I'm gonna attempt some sort of fade, possibly. Put them all into this infinity scarf, and then given that it's 4-ply, I should be able to wear it through the season transitions, so some more sort of spring and autumn. But I wanted to share them with you because they're just gorgeous. Okay, so that is it for this episode. You've had your lot. Show notes will be below. Any questions, just leave me a comment, and hopefully I will have some more exciting things to show you next month. So until then, happy crocheting.